Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go!
This happened about a year or two ago when I was 16. I worked as a waitress at a small pizza restaurant in town. I liked it there. The owners were nice and I knew most customers by name. The tips were okay, and I enjoyed the job. The restaurant was run by a couple who had a baby boy about a year old. When they couldn't find a babysitter, they brought him to work. They set up a crib on the floor near the kitchen to watch him while working. I liked the baby. When I wasn't busy, I'd check on him, pick up his toys, or put him back in his area if he tried to crawl away. His mom took care of him too, but I helped when I could. I just like kids. One Friday night was really busy. I was running around taking orders, serving food, and still checking on the baby. Later, things slowed down. I had a table with 4 middle-aged women having a night out. They were nice and friendly. They liked my service and tipped me way more than normal. I was happy and thought it was because I worked hard. About a week and a half later, I was working when those same women came in again. I smiled at them. One woman asked where my baby was today. I was confused until I realized she meant the owner's son. I told her the baby wasn't mine and probably had a babysitter today. I said it casually, but the mood changed. The woman's face changed from friendly to angry. She asked what I meant by saying the baby wasn't mine and said I should have told them earlier. I said sorry and that I didn't know they thought he was mine. She said they all thought the baby was mine and that's why they tipped well. I told her I was only 16 and if I had a child, my life would be very different. This made her angrier. She said I tricked them and should tell everyone when there's a kid at the restaurant that it's not mine because it's misleading. She even wanted her tip back. She was shouting and other customers were looking. Why would anyone think a baby was mine just because I helped with him? And why did it matter for tipping? I said I wasn't trying to trick anyone, and people shouldn't assume a kid is mine just because I help him. I also said I couldn't return a tip from over a week ago. The woman stood up. She said I was unacceptable and tricked them into feeling sorry for me. She said they thought I was a teen mom working to support my baby. My manager, the baby's mother, heard this and came over. She asked what was wrong. The woman said I pretended the manager's baby was mine to get better tips. My manager looked confused. She said that wasn't true and I never said her son was mine. I just helped when they brought him to work. The woman argued that I never corrected them when they assumed the baby was mine, which was like lying. My manager tried to explain that I was a minor just helping with her child, but they wouldn't listen. They kept asking for their tip back and saying I tricked them for money. Things got so bad that security had to make them leave. They were still shouting about me, scamming them as they left. After they left, my manager told me not to worry and that I did nothing wrong. I nodded but felt bad. It was strange and hurtful that someone would get so upset over this mistake, and that they only tipped well because they thought I was a teen mom. I moved on and later got a job at the local hospital. It paid better, had regular hours, and I liked helping people. I almost forgot about what happened until recently. I was working at the hospital when I went to check on a new patient. When I saw her, I knew right away. It was the same woman from the restaurant. She seemed to know me too. My heart beat faster. All those feelings came back, the embarrassment, frustration, and unfairness of being accused of something ridiculous. I knew I couldn't take care of her. It wasn't professional, but I still felt angry about what happened. I left the room and told my supervisor about the situation. They understood and gave me different patients, so I wouldn't have to see her. For the rest of my day, I wondered if she remembered me as well as I remembered her. I wondered if she felt bad about how she treated a 16-year-old just doing her job. I doubt it. Some people think they deserve whatever they want, even if it means accusing others or being mean. I learned at the pizza place that you can't reason with everyone, and some people twist things to fit what they want to believe. But I also learned at the hospital that it's okay to set limits, even at work. I struggle with anxiety, autism, and some dyslexia. This makes public interactions challenging for me sometimes, but I've found ways to earn extra money doing things I enjoy, like customizing Gundam models for clients. Let me explain what Gundam models are, in case you're not familiar. They're plastic model kits of robots from Japanese anime shows. Fans call them Gunpla, which stands for Gundam Plastic Model. I absolutely love building and customizing them. Last spring break, I was doing custom Gundam work to earn extra cash, along with mowing lawns and washing cars. I live in downtown Houston, on the upper northwest side, pretty far from other major cities like Dallas. Because of the distance I often had to travel for clients, I kept my prices firm to cover gas costs and to buy more Gunpla for future projects. One day I went to my usual Target to check their Gunpla selection. They had several high-grade kits available: a red Zaku, some battle log kits like the Barbatorus, a Tenjiro statue kit, a Deku statue kit, an Ultra Instinct Goku model, and a Naruto model. I spotted the last high-grade Strike Freedom Gundam on the shelf, which was perfect for an ancient Egyptian-style custom I was planning. It was going to be a Horus-themed design that required significant head modifications. I grabbed the kit and headed to the self-checkout line. While waiting, I felt someone tugging at my shirt. I turned around to see a woman, about 5 feet 4 inches tall, probably in her 40s, and surprisingly fit-looking. The woman politely asked me what I was holding, showing curiosity about the item in my hands. I told her I didn't mind explaining and that it was a model kit for a custom I was doing for a client. She then asked if it was similar to Legos. I confirmed that it was, but mentioned it was from Japan. Some guy standing nearby heard our conversation and chuckled. I couldn't help laughing a little too, which seemed to irritate the woman. The woman's demeanor suddenly changed. She started ranting about how the product was from people who started COVID, claiming they ruined everyone's lives forever and were to blame for everything. She demanded that I put the item back and get something real instead. I didn't move. I'm 6 feet tall and fairly strong from my years on the swim team, which I had quit due to personal issues. I was next in line for self-checkout when she grabbed me and tried to put me in what she called a citizen's arrest. I felt an anxiety attack coming on. My anxiety manifests with shaky hands, stuttering, sweating, and racing thoughts. I sat down next to the small refrigerators to try to calm myself. One of the guys who had chuckled earlier sat with me, telling me that his stepson also deals with anxiety. The woman called the police and we all waited. When the officers arrived, they asked for the woman's side of the story first. A rookie officer immediately pulled out his handcuffs, ready to arrest me. Thankfully, the guy who had stayed with me spoke up and explained what actually happened. There was another female officer who still wanted to arrest me, but an older female officer intervened and took charge of the situation. The older officer asked me for my name and what I was doing at Target. I showed her the Gundam kit. The helpful bystander mentioned my anxiety, explaining why I was having trouble answering questions. The officer seemed to understand immediately. The older officer said I had done nothing wrong, and that my purchase was completely legitimate. She told the woman that she was being fined for wasting police time and instructed her to leave the property. The woman insisted that I had looked suspicious. Then, shockingly, she slapped the older officer across the face. Immediately, the officer placed her under arrest for assaulting a police officer. The older officer instructed the rookie to take the woman to the police cruiser outside. The rookie officer led the struggling woman away while the older officer turned back to me. I was still trying to calm my breathing. The older officer kindly asked what my favorite soda was. When I told her it was Mountain Dew, she offered to buy one for me, saying that I'd had a rough time. She went to the refrigerator section and came back with 2 Mountain Dews, handing one to me. I couldn't help the tears that came to my eyes. It was such a simple but kind gesture, especially coming from a police officer. She gave me a quick hug, which helped me feel safe and understood. After that, I paid for my Gundam kit and headed home. I finished the Horus custom a week later, and it turned out to be one of my best works. My client loved it so much they commissioned 2 more Egyptian-themed customs from me. That encounter taught me that while there are entitled people who can make life difficult, there are also good people who will stand up for others and show unexpected kindness. The memory of that officer's simple act of buying me a soda still makes me smile whenever I work on a new Gundam model. The woman who tried to get me arrested, she was banned from the store. I still shop at that Target regularly, and the electronics department staff now recognize me as the Gundam guy. They even started stocking more kits because they noticed how quickly they sell. I've since expanded my custom Gundam business and even created a small workshop in my garage. My anxiety still flares up sometimes, but remembering how I handled that situation gives me confidence. Not every difficult encounter has to end badly, and sometimes they can lead to unexpected opportunities. Last summer, in 2019, I had a weird run-in at the local park. My friends B and F were with me, and we were having a normal day until someone decided to make it memorable. My parents split when I was 10. Mom worked 2 jobs to keep things going. I learned to avoid drama, which is probably why BF and I got along so well. We liked video games and comics more than trouble. That day started fine. We hung out with some kids from school, played frisbee, and shared snacks. When those kids left, they dropped trash on the grass, chip bags and soda cans. B, F and I stayed to get water from the fountain. We were walking and talking about movies when a woman appeared. She had that haircut everyone knows means trouble. She accused us of leaving trash on what she called her grass. B told her the grass wasn't hers and we didn't leave the trash. The woman yelled that she saw us do it. I explained that we were just walking through and other kids left the trash. She called us liars and said she watched from her house across the street. She complained about how we treated public property. F said we hadn't done anything wrong and were just getting water. For 10 minutes we tried explaining, but she wouldn't listen. She kept saying she saw us litter. Eventually she said if we wouldn't clean our mess, she would. She walked off and started picking up trash while talking about kids these days and no respect. It was nice she cleaned the park, but her accusation was wrong. We went to the water fountain, filled our bottles, and thought it was over. It wasn't. When we came back, there she was in the middle of the path. She held a large stick from somewhere in the park. She looked like she guarded the castle instead of a walkway. We kept walking, thinking she'd move. She didn't. She started talking about our generation being disrespectful with no regard for property or the environment. I reminded her this was a public park, not her property, and we didn't leave the trash. She said she'd had enough of our lies and told us she went to the police station on Main Street. An officer was coming to deal with us. She said we'd be charged with littering and destruction of property. B asked what destruction she meant since we didn't destroy anything. She said we damaged the grass with our trash. F whispered to me, asking if she was serious. I got worried. She wasn't thinking straight and blocked our path with a stick. We thought about finding another way out, but a police officer showed up. He asked what the problem was. The woman demanded we be arrested. She called us delinquents who littered and damaged property. The officer looked at all of us, sizing up the situation. I told the officer we didn't litter, other kids left trash earlier, and we were just getting water. B added that she harassed us and blocked our way with the stick. The officer asked if she was blocking us. She said we needed to learn a lesson and couldn't throw trash everywhere. She got more upset. The officer tried calming her down but failed. She threatened us, saying we'd never disrespect her again and she'd get revenge. She claimed the park was part of her neighborhood and she wouldn't accept our behavior. When the officers suggested lowering the stick, she lost control. She shouted bad words. The officer took us aside while watching her. He told us to go home by a different path and avoid this area today. We nodded and left, but behind us things got worse. The woman tried pushing past the officer to reach us. Bad move. Within seconds, she was in handcuffs, still yelling about revenge and disrespect. We hurried away, shocked but also finding it funny how crazy it all was. For weeks we took different routes. Eventually we went back to our old path and never saw her again. I wonder if she got help after that. That much anger over nothing isn't normal. It's hard to believe a simple park walk turned into such a weird fight. At least I can tell about the time we met a woman with a stick who thought she owned the park. I've been working at a Mendy's drive-thru for about 2 years now. I took the job to help pay for my community college classes, but it's turned into my main source of income since I graduated with my associate's degree last year. The job market hasn't been great, and while I keep applying for positions in my field, fast food pays the bills for now. Lately, our company has undergone some major changes. Corporate decided to streamline the menu, raise prices, and implement a new ordering system that none of us were properly trained on. These changes have created a perfect storm of frustration for everyone involved. Customers are confused by the new menu and higher prices, employees are struggling with the clunky system, and managers are under pressure from above to make it all work smoothly. It's like standing under what should be a beautiful waterfall, but instead of enjoying it, you're directly under the torrent with water forcing your lower lip down, making you look ridiculous while you struggle to breathe. The experience could be pleasant if you were positioned correctly, but drive-through workers were standing in the worst possible spot, constantly pummeled by that beautiful water. But I digress. Yesterday afternoon, during the post-lunch rush when things were finally calming down, a woman pulled up to the speaker and ordered 3 baggy bags. This is one of the funniest customer mispronunciations I've heard since the guy who called our Baconator a Terminator. I smiled to myself but kept it professional. I asked her which baggy bag she wanted, explaining that we had 3 different options. Her response was immediate and rude. She snapped at me, acting like there was only one type of baggy bag and implying I was stupid for not knowing this. Her tone immediately set my teeth on edge. In the past, I would have responded with sarcasm or pettiness, but I've been watching these YouTube videos about proper customer service and conflict de-escalation. They've been helpful in teaching me how to handle difficult situations without making them worse. Taking a deep breath, I told her our 3 options: the Bonjour Jake and Bees Charger, the Stubble DAC, or the Chispy Cricken BLT. She rudely replied that she wanted the Stubble DAC, adding duh as if it should have been obvious. Then she called us idiots, complaining that we never listened to her. She demanded that we put everything in 3 separate bags. Being called an idiot made my blood pressure spike. I really wanted to lose it, but I caught my co-worker's eye. She could sense my struggle as I tried not to sigh and ended up giving myself a breathing problem in the process. My co-worker said she couldn't believe this woman's behavior, saying she reminded her of an aunt she hated. That small moment of solidarity helped me keep my cool. I simply acknowledged her request for separate bags in a neutral tone, like I was describing what I had for breakfast. The customer then swore at me and emphasized again that she wanted 3 separate bags, raising her voice with each word. She then screeched away from the speaker box so loudly that it hurt my ear. I watched as her car swung around the bend, nearly hitting the vehicle in front of her. My ears were still ringing, and even if I had wanted to respond, she was already gone. That was the last straw. 3 separate bags? Oh, you're going to get exactly what you asked for. The baggy bag normally includes a drink, fries, nuggets, and a sandwich of your choice. Typically, we would put 1 burger, 1 fries, and 1 nuggets in a single bag for each meal. But today was going to be different. I asked my manager if I could bag this order myself. He had overheard the entire exchange and gave me a reluctant nod, waving his hand toward the bagging station. I washed my hands and gloved up faster than I ever had before. Then, I put all the fries from all 3 meals in 1 bag, all the burgers in the second bag, and all the nuggets in the third bag. When her car pulled up to the window, I was surprised to see that the driver actually looked pleasant, not what I had expected. The passenger, however, was exactly as I had imagined from her voice. She leaned over the driver and demanded to know if we had put everything in 3 separate bags. My co-worker Sam told her that we had indeed prepared bags 1 through 3 for her. The driver looked inside the bags and tried to hide a smile while shaking her head. She turned to the passenger, who had also looked into the bags. The passenger asked if we were serious and said, "Oh my God." She then told the driver to just go. The car screeched away again, the driver still smiling. It felt satisfying to ruin one person's day while making another's. Who am I kidding? They probably forgot about this 10 minutes later. But I never will. As I watched them drive away, my co-worker high-fived me. For just a brief moment, standing under that waterfall didn't feel so bad. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.